Look, I'll be honest. Until I got to college, I was always financially supported by my parents. And I'm sure a lot of you can resonate with me when I say this, but oh my God, being an adult is so hard. I mean, seriously, my parents very lovingly pushed me out into the real world, and I had to figure it out from there. Reality hit, and everything is so expensive. I mean, seriously. Gas, groceries, clothes, school supplies, it all adds up. So much so that I even remember paying for a pair of jeans with quarters. I wish I was kidding, but I did sit on my floor my freshman year and count out about $20 worth of quarters for my jeans. One thing I didn't think of, though, at the time, were the poor labor standards behind those jeans. I was so focused on this mindset of saving more for my wallet that that's all I cared about at the time. As consumers, we don't really think about where things come from. I was so focused on this mentality that I, like others, didn't think about the complexities behind the goods that we get produced. I can look at a label and I can see that it says, made in the Philippines, made in Bangladesh, made in China, but that only tells me where it came from. It doesn't tell me where it was made or how at what expense. Joe Fresh was a very popular clothing brand sold in Walmart stores. They were known for their affordability, their style, and also for being very popular amongst American consumers. In 2013, 230 Joe Fresh workers were killed in their factory collapse in Bangladesh. The building was unstable. It contained large cracks spreading across the foundation, poor insulation causing workers to have lung problems and other physical ailments, and on top of that, uncontained asbestos. In addition to the physical environment, workers that were mostly women had to deal with things such as verbal abuse, unpaid leave, long 15-hour days of being hunched over a sewing machine, and unequal pay to their male counterparts. When the cracks in the building were discovered, workers were told to either get back to work or that they would be replaced. So workers did what they had to. Joe Fresh was one of the 5 brands that were manufactured in that building called Rana Plaza. According to the International Labor Organization, 1,132 people were killed in that collapse, and over 2,500 people were critically injured. It's still one of the most horrific industrial accidents to date. No form of severance was paid to those affected by this. Other co-workers had to dig through the rubble, finding their colleagues dead or alive, having the decision of seeing who was worth saving and who had to be lost in the rubble forever. Those who walked away had to deal with broken bones, bruises, lost limbs, and cuts. Because of this, they had to fight for their chance at life. Those who died no longer had the ability to support their mothers, their fathers, their grandparents, or their children. We may have heard word of this in the United States, but for most of us, it's something that's long forgotten. It's something that we don't often think about. The Accord on Fire and Building Safety was signed by over 20 countries and 200 clothing companies. Because of this, it was supposed to be a new wave on starting safer working conditions for garment factory workers. Individual countries have laws in place that are supposed to protect these workers, but questions of reasonable labor laws are still in place. Incidents like this have decreased in frequency, but have things actually changed since the signing of the Accords? One of the reasons why manufacturers are able to offer such low prices when it comes to buying cheap clothing is due to the idea of globalization. Globalization is the idea where a business can move overseas and they're able to gain international influence and be able to grow on a more international scale. So what this would look like is, if I were to start a clothing company, and I might recognize that it would be more profitable for me to have my business of a factory of 100 workers overseas in Bangladesh that I can pay 75 cents per day versus having a factory in the United States where I would have 25 people that I would have to pay hourly or benefits. Labor recruitment migration exploits textile workers. A 2019 investigative report done in The Guardian found that the industry pay in Bangladesh is about 8,000 taka. This runs out to about $96 per month. 80% of these workers are women, and beyond pay, they have to face things such as verbal abuse, conditions that allow for violence against women, unsanitary working conditions, and on top of that, culture and gender discrimination. The World Economic Forum states that current garment industry manufacturers are facing the perfect storm. What this means is that the advances in technology have made it even faster and easier for fast fashion to flourish. What this does is it depletes the need for garment workers, making it even less of a concern for companies to uphold safer working conditions. According to the International Labor Organization, the majority of women that are recruited for these jobs are mainly put in factory work or in domestic care. And men that are recruited through these centers are recruited to do extreme physical labor or blue-collar jobs. Because of this distinction and this kind of understanding of what gender plays into the roles that these people work in, women aren't treated fairly, and they're treated poorly, and they have fewer rights than men. As consumers, now is the time for us to hold companies accountable for these safer working conditions. It is important for us to get involved in the cause, for us to be able to fight against these poor labor standards, to be able to buy secondhand clothing, and finding fair trade companies that we can all support and encourage other businesses to follow. This problem has existed for such a long time, and it's time that we bring it to light and fix it. We as consumers have the power to stand up against this type of degradation. And where we spend our money, that matters. Thank you for your time.